Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. You guys submitted some great sources this time around, and we're going to tackle them head on.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
So are we ready to unpack the world of Ben Shapiro?
Let's do it.
This guy, where do you even begin? Youngest nationally syndicated columnist at 17.
It's pretty amazing.
Harvard law grad, founded the Daily Wire, and this podcast, he's everywhere.
Huge following, too.
Yeah, so clearly a powerful voice.
Definitely. And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting.
Okay, so let's jump right in.
Yeah.
Looking at everything you sent over, what really stood out to you? What's at the heart of Shapiro's message?
Well, first and foremost, he's a conservative political commentator, right?
Right.
But I think what's really interesting is that he's not just commenting, he's actively trying to shape the conversation.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Okay, so conservative commentator, but what's the deeper dive there? What are the specific ideas he keeps coming back to?
It's a very specific brand of conservatism, for sure. You see these recurring themes over and over: limited government, free speech, a real pushback against what he calls, quote, leftist ideologies.
Ah, so he's drawing some pretty clear lines in the sand.
Oh, absolutely. He's not afraid of confrontation, that's for sure.
And this comes up, I think, in his debating style, which is something he's known for, right? Like, people either love it or hate it.
Exactly. Very direct. Some might say aggressive even, but it's part of his appeal for a lot of people.
Makes for good sound bites, at least.
For sure. And it plays into this whole idea of the culture wars, which is another big theme in his work.
Okay, hold on. Let's break that down for a second. Culture wars. I hear that phrase all the time. What does it actually mean in this context?
So in Shapiro's world, the culture wars are these battles over values, beliefs, societal norms. It's like traditional versus progressive, constantly clashing.
Got it. So is he saying he's like a warrior in these culture wars?
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. I mean, he wades right into these hot button issues like gender identity, political correctness, you name it. He's got an opinion.
And he's not afraid to share it.
Not at all. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, because he connects these cultural debates to his criticism of the media.
Okay, yeah, he's super vocal about that. What's his main critique there?
He's basically saying that the mainstream media has a left-wing bias, that they're presenting information in a way that favors liberal viewpoints.
And he uses data to back this up, right? Like specific examples.
Exactly. In one of the articles you sent, he cites a study that showed a pretty big difference in how certain news outlets covered, say, a conservative politician versus a liberal one.
Interesting.
His point is you can't always trust what you see or read. You got to be critical, look for the agenda behind the story.
And that's a pretty powerful message, especially in today's world, where we're bombarded with information 24/7.
Totally. And it's why Shapiro's work resonates with so many people, especially young people. He's giving them a framework for questioning the status quo.
Right. It's like he's saying, think for yourself. Don't just accept what you're told.
Exactly. And that's a pretty powerful message, regardless of whether you agree with his specific viewpoints.
So let me ask you this. If someone's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, Ben Shapiro, I've heard the name. I know he's kind of a big deal, but why should I care? What would you say?
I'd say, even if you completely disagree with everything Ben Shapiro says, understanding his arguments is important for understanding the bigger picture.
How so?
He's influencing a lot of people. He's shaping the political landscape, especially on the right.
So you're saying to be an informed citizen, you got to understand where he's coming from.
I think so, yeah. And not just him, but other voices on the right and the left.
Seeking out different perspectives, that's key.
Absolutely. That's how we can have productive conversations and hopefully find some common ground.
Well said. On that note, I think we've done a pretty good job of unpacking Ben Shapiro's world, wouldn't you say?
I think so, yeah. We hit the highlights.
And hopefully you, dear listener, have a little more insight into this media powerhouse.
And maybe even a few things to think about, to mull over.
Now, here's a final thought for you to ponder. If Shapiro is so focused on individual responsibility, where does that leave room for collective action?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep those sources coming.
See ya.
Bye.